And I think it would be fantastic if it was happening. But I think that there is a healthy degree of skepticism going around about this announcement. We haven't heard yet from Boko Haram, and we haven't had any kind of timetable from the government. And in fact, I think the government has come out and said it's a process. It's not a number of hours or days. So I think we have to wait and see.
Now, we haven't heard from Boko Haram on this occasion, but we have heard from them previously. And one of the things they threatened was to sell the girls into slavery and hold on to them, essentially, until the government releases prisoners from Nigerian jails. Do we know about either one of these things? Do we know anything about the condition of the girls? And do we know, more importantly, I suppose, today, whether there has been some kind of deal to get them released?
So I think we know a little bit about the condition of the girls if we look at past cases of girls who have been kidnapped by Boko Haram and who have escaped from captivity, not this particular Chibok case, but this actually has been a strategy that Boko Haram has been employing since about 2012, a tit for tat with the Nigerian government where they, and Shekau has said this publicly, where they are going to kidnap Nigerian women in retaliation for the government arresting the wives and lieutenants of Boko Haram. And in fact, negotiations have fallen apart in the past because Boko Haram wants more prisoner releases than the government is willing to give them.
You have met some of the girls who've been held by Boko Haram, others who've managed to get out. What did you learn from them, and what should we expect, if indeed the girls are released, about the condition that they'll be in?
I mean, this was a very unique case in that they kidnapped over 200 girls. The girls that I met who had been in captivity for 3 weeks with Boko Haram fighters were kidnapped in very small groups, in a group of 3. They were kept in pretty terrible conditions. They were married to Boko Haram fighters and raped. They had to clean and cook for Boko Haram, and they couldn't kind of have any control over their lives. I think we can maybe expect a bit of that, but it's a completely different case in the sense that there are so many girls.
What do you make of the timing of this announcement and the proximity to President Goodluck Jonathan's own bid for re-election?
It's interesting, and I think the other interesting part of this is that it was the 6-month anniversary of the kidnapping, and there had been, a flurry of news articles about remembering the 200 girls that had been taken. And this announcement came right on the heels of a lot of criticism of Jonathan for having had 6 months go by without finding any of these girls. And the election is coming up next year, so I think we can have an interesting conversation about what the timing of this is really amounting to.
You met some girls who escaped from Boko Haram. What did they tell you about their time in captivity?
The girls that I met with were actually in school to take their final exams. They were kidnapped on the night of April 14th to April 15th. And they were taken on a truck with all of their classmates and their very close friends, and driven outside of the community that is pretty much the only place they knew growing up, into the forest through the night. And escaped from the path that the Boko Haram were taking to detain them in Sambisa Forest, which is probably where they were held for a certain amount of time. And I think the most important thing to know about these girls that were kidnapped is that they were about to finish their senior year of college, their senior year of high school, and that's a really rare thing for young women to be doing in northeastern Nigeria. And so at the end of the process of starting to take their final exams, that's when Boko Haram, which translates to Western education, is forbidden, decided to kidnap these girls, thereby disrupting all of the hard work that they've been doing and all of their future plans. And so I think it's really important to keep in mind that Nigeria needs to be able to, if this exchange does go through, we need to have a really interesting and in-depth conversation about what to do and how to rehabilitate these girls.